Hey gang, this is Diamante, and we're creating madness on the Madness to Creation podcast. And if you're ever feeling down or alone, know that you're not alone and everything's going to be okay.
Welcome to the Madness to Creation podcast, where self-care and music merge. This is Maddie. How are you? I hope you enjoyed this upcoming episode featuring amazing hard rock vocalist Diamante. She recently released her album entitled American Dream to rave reviews. American Dream already has millions of streams on Spotify, and it has garnered all kinds of attention throughout the rock music world. You have heard Diamante very likely with her previous songs on her previous album, Haunted. She did an incredible duet with Bad Wolves in the song Hear Me Now, and she also did a viral cover with Breaking Benjamin with the song Iris, originally done by Goo Goo Dolls. This album is absolutely just a catchy, incredible listen that really takes people into the heart and soul of Diamante. It breaks down everything that she's gone through from mental health perspective to transitioning to an independent recording artist for Better Noise Music, and she is just an absolutely humble, gracious person. We get into some incredible stories on how fans have came up to her and saved her life, and her music has helped get them through. And to me, that's what this podcast is all about: is helping others heal, and just helping others get through this thing called life. As Prince says, don't let the elevator bring you down. And I think Diamante would echo that as well. And we talk about the album, but we talk a ton about mental health. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And just check this episode out. And we have some really cool episodes coming up featuring Roadie Relief, Jason Rockman of Slaves on Dope, and so on and so forth. Please follow this podcast on Spotify, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Geo7, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. And you can also find Diamante all over social media. With that note, here's our conversation with Diamante. Take it away, Diamante. Welcome to the Madness Creation Podcast, where self-care and music merge. This is Maddie. How are you? Here I have with me is the lovely and awesome Diamante. Diamante, how are you?
I'm doing so good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I got to send you a personal congratulations. First of all, I'm a special ed teacher by day. I help kids with academics, behaviors, to help close the achievement gap, so to speak. So it really means a lot to me when people advance in their life and stuff. And congratulations on your college degree.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's crazy that it almost feels surreal just because it's been so long in the making. It took me 6 years to do, but I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah. So what's your degree in?
I got it in business administration, just because I figured I could apply so much of this degree into the music business, which is my everyday life.
Definitely. So you use that with you being an independent artist from 2019. So how are you going to take from what you learned back in 2019 when you were with Better Noise to now with your business degree? How are you going to apply that? Are you also going to get into like NFTs or anything like that? I don't know if you know what NFTs are.
Kinda. I've started getting to know what they are. I think I might get involved with that soon, actually. But as far as like, it's just been a cool learning experience having an album with a record label, seeing what steps they take in the album process and then the album campaign and promoting. I definitely did take a lot of what I learned in that first album and brought it into this album campaign. In terms of like social media and doing PR and just talking about the songs and really connecting with the fans. And then with school, I applied what I learned there in terms of like marketing or maybe more on the business front, like finances, which I didn't know a whole lot about until recently.
Nice. So like the question I have is like, are you going to use the business degree to maybe start your own label or something like that, or start your own like PR or whatever, like consulting or anything like that, like to help other artists along? Or
I would love to. I've always said one day it would be so cool for me to be able to open up my own record label and have artists that I believe in and teach them what I know. And maybe do things a little more unconventionally, because that's what I do in everything. I'm very unconventional in everything that I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only are you unconventional, which is a very good thing in today's normal basic world, for lack of a better term, but you are very authentic. So how do you go about bringing about so much authenticity and like to your social media and stuff like that?
I've realized that it's actually better, not just for obviously the fans because they get to see the real you, but it's better for me too when I don't always have to feel like I need to put on a front and look some kind of way or act some kind of way or come across some kind of way. I feel like when I'm just me, that's when it translates the best. And I'm talking about tacos, or I'm talking about my dog Nico, or I'm talking about getting my degree. That's when people seem to really connect with me the most. And it's so much better than having to always feel like I need to be some kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of something I'm taking into my social medias, and instead of just saying like, hey, check out this link. I'm trying to get to where people know me as well. Like, I mean, I'm a
Yeah.
special education teacher, and I do this as well. You know, I have a unique story, so I need to talk about that more. And I absolutely, speaking of you being yourself, I love the song Ghost Myself. I really like the video where it feels like you're having a war inside your head, so to speak. Is that kind of the message that you're trying to bring about in that song? That's what I got out of it.
Yeah. And in the video, you see good Diamante battling in the ring with bad Diamante, only to discover really that it was just me fighting myself all along. There was never a second person there. And Ghost Myself is about being at war with yourself and not loving who you are 100% of the time, which is totally normal. And I wanted to have a song that addressed that because I know I've had my share of days for sure where I felt like that. And I know that probably everyone at some point in their lives have felt that way. So it was really important for me to have a song that talked about that topic.
Absolutely. And I'm actually working on a book. It'll probably be released in 2023. I'm going through a little bit of writer's block right now, so I had to push it back a year. It's called Lighthouses in the Darkest Distances. It's like how we in the music industry get through the difficult times in life. And you have a right to pass on this question, but tell me about a time when it was difficult for you and you had to rise to the occasion.
Oh man, I would say there it's hard to choose one. There's been a lot of moments actually where it's been very difficult because this industry is just so cutthroat and brutal. But I would
Sure is.
say getting dropped by my label was not fun at first, especially because when you sign with a record label, you never really think about the day that you're no longer with them. And it's very bittersweet because, you spent, for me at least, I spent the last 3 years of my life and my career with this label, and I put out an album. And so when that happened, I really had to overcome, like, don't think about why it happened, just think about moving forward and doing the best with what you've been dealt with. And with that situation, my thought process was like, I just got to go forward and I need to keep going. There's no stopping right now. That's not an option for me.
I could have said it better myself. That's kind of the best lesson is just moving forward. Like, for example, in my personal life, my dad is currently battling lung cancer right now. And tomorrow he starts his first treatment chemotherapy. And it's really teaching me to move forward like what you are doing. And you're also moving forward with this amazing record called American Dream. I literally spun it 3 times in a row today because it was so good. And so take what you've learned and into the writing process. How do you feel you've grown as an artist, like in your songwriting or in your singing or whatever? And how in the hell do you get that voice that you have? That's what I'd like to know.
Oh man, I would say, I mean, just objectively looking back at the first album compared to this, I feel like I've grown exponentially as a singer, as a songwriter, mostly, and as a person, especially with this last year. I feel like when it comes to the writing, I was able to really push myself more in those places that were maybe more uncomfortable or painful, or topics that I was ashamed to address, like the fact that I don't always love who I am, or the fact that I feel like I'm too difficult for people, or I'm too hard to love, or I've messed up these many instances with people. So the problem must be me. These are all insecurities that I have that I never was brave enough to put into song. And this time around I was. And it's so much more liberating and freeing when you can just put it all out on the table for everyone to hear, because you're no longer holding on to it and keeping it so bottled up inside. And then, I mean, vocally, I think the 2 years of touring that I did really helped just strengthen my vocals, because I had to sing every night, maybe for over an hour. And Howard Benson just grilling me in the studio recording American Dream, he really pushed me to deliver the best that I possibly could.
So what did you learn from Howard Benson?
I'd say the biggest thing that I learned was the writing from a vulnerable place. He would tell me, like, you know, I've worked with a lot of artists who they really couldn't go there. And I mean, like, really go there. And it hindered them because they weren't able to open up. And I think that's what has people connect with your music the most, when you are open and vulnerable, because then it allows them to say, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. I feel this way too. And I can connect with what you're saying. So that was probably the biggest thing he taught me. And then when it comes to singing vocals in the booth, one of the things he would always say to me after a take is like, I don't believe you. I don't believe one word that just came out of your mouth.
Oh, wow.
And for me, that's important, because when I'm singing, I want to sing with conviction, and I want people to hear it and say, yeah, she's being real. This actually means something to her. She's telling her story. So he really taught me how to sing with conviction and not just, I guess, sing without really feeling it.
Mm-hmm. And in the song Unlovable, which is, I'll be honest with you, is probably my favorite song in the album, you just hit that really vulnerable place and all that. And is it more challenging? I'm not a vocalist by any stretch. I can't carry a tune in a bucket, but is it more challenging to, sing a ballad, so to speak, and to express yourself that way, or than as opposed to like a rock song?
I would say it's more challenging for me, at least, to sing the ballads or like the acoustic songs, because you can't really hide behind anything. With the full-on like hard rock songs, you have the guitars blaring and the bass and the drums, and you have all these different layers that you're kind of singing with. But on a song like Unlovable, it's just me and a piano and maybe a couple of violins. I feel very like exposed in a way, like my voice feels very naked. So it's definitely more challenging in that way.
Mm-hmm. And give me some of your favorite tour memories. I mean, you've toured with like Breaking Benjamin, Chevelle, Theory. Are they called Theory, or is it Theory of a Dead Man? Because I saw in a press release it's Theory, but I also see Theory of a Dead Man.
I hear,
or do they go by both?
I think it might be their like nickname.
Okay.
Cool tour stories. Oh, I have so many.
Or just one that sticks out, like any tour pranks or anything where you just like the audience just blew you away, or.
Oh my gosh. Tour pranks. Let me see. Me and my guys actually did do a pretty epic, I'm very proud of this, tour prank for 3 Days Grace. This was summer 2019. And while they were on stage, me and my guys went into their dressing room and put a bunch of blow-up dolls and dressed up the blow-up dolls to look like each member of the band. And, them were girls, and we gave like Barry the Canada shirt to show that it was him, and I made Neil a goat or something, and we put like it kind of looked like a bachelorette party where they're just
nice.
Genitalia everywhere in the green room. And they came back in, and we had Old Town Road just playing on loop in their green room.
That is hysterical.
And they walked in, and they said, like, gotta be honest, in our 20-something years of doing this might have been the best tour prank we've ever gotten. So
that is pretty awesome. Cool. Has anybody ever pranked you or the band?
Someone ever pranked me? Yeah, well, yeah, I guess 3 Days Grace, when I was on stage on the very last show of that tour, in the screens behind me, like without me knowing at all, they kind of hijacked the screens and played a video of them dancing in their green room as I was doing the show.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And then I'm known for signing titties. It kind of just became this thing ever since. I think it happened on the Hinder tour when I was 18. A fan came up to us like, "Can you please sign my titty?" And I was like, Yeah, sure. And all of a sudden, it just started catching on, and people always want me to sign their titties. So members of 3 Days Grace came out on stage and asked me if I would sign their titties. So I signed all their titties.
That is awesome. And I remember seeing 3 Days Grace, like back when I was in college. Red opened for them. They brought out a card table and they started playing cards right in. I was actually at that show when they started playing cards right in the middle of their set.
I love those pranks, or when someone comes out on stage and just starts sweeping as if they're the champ.
It is so cool. So I can't imagine how much you miss touring, given COVID-19 and all that. What do you miss the most about it?
Oh, I miss so much about it. I think I miss the feeling I have when I'm on stage. I miss getting to be in a new city every single night and traveling and exploring and discovering new places. I miss most of all, though, getting to talk to the fans after the show, because that was my absolute favorite part. I would always go out into the crowd, or I'd like go into the parking lot at the very end of the show, and I would stand there and I'd talk to every single person who wanted to talk to me or take photos or sign titties. And I would do that for like 2 hours every night. And it was just so gratifying and so much fun. And I definitely miss that the most.
I can't imagine that feeling, like just like you get in, have fans come up to you and say how awesome you did and stuff. Have you ever had like anybody come up to you like with a certain song and be like, you know what, that song really resonated with me or kind of saved my life?
Yeah, I've had that a lot actually, which is the craziest part. I know I have songs like Bulletproof and Fight Like a Girl, and those always seem to get like survivors of domestic violence. They'll tell me that those songs really help them specifically. Or I'll never forget, like, I had one mom come up to me with her daughter, like a young daughter, and say, like, she tried to take her life a couple of months ago, and then she discovered you, and you've really helped her. And at that point I'm sobbing, but it's just,
I'll get emotional. Think about that.
There's nothing like hearing these stories from people and knowing that your music is helping them in some way.
Yeah. And I got to say, like, from a personal standpoint, like, obviously, like in the past month with my dad getting cancer and everything, been going through depression. And then I heard Haunted on the radio, one of your songs, and I got a little emotional. So thank you for writing that song and stuff like that. So can you take us into that song real quick? It's honestly one of my favorite songs. So I just love the power behind it and stuff like that. So
Haunted was a song that I wrote with Johnny Andrews back in 2017. And the idea was to have, it's kind of a revenge song, like, when I'm gone, you're really gonna miss me, but you're gonna be haunted by the fact that I'm gone. I'm really not gonna be gone in that sense. Like, you're always gonna be thinking about how you messed up, how you wish things could have ended better, and you're always gonna live in that state of regret. And we pulled from Number One Crush by Garbage. That's where, like, I would die for you, like these creepy lyrics. And so that's why the verse is like, I'll follow you into the dark. It's very creepy. And then sonically, I remember I wanted to have like a cross between Rob Zombie and Garbage. And so that's why
I can see that
riff is so like a little Rob Zombie-ish, and the chorus as well. And yeah, that one is so much fun to sing live because it's just such a driving song and it's so energetic.
It definitely is. And how freaking cool is Shirley Manson of Garbage, by the way?
Oh, she's epic. She's so cool.
Yeah. So what's your favorite Garbage song?
I think it's Number One Crush, just because it's so weird. And I love weird songs.
Yeah. They had a song, was it Stupid Girl?
Yeah.
I remember that was on MTV all the time back in the 90s.
See, I didn't get to live in the heyday of the MTV days. It's a bummer.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I remember like when music videos were all the time, and now it's hardly ever any music videos.
Yeah.
So kind of a question I have for you, like, first of all, what's the first thing you want to do when this COVID-19 pandemic is over? And secondly, what do you feel that you do well live? And what's one thing you feel like you need to work on live?
Those are good questions. I would say first thing I want to do when the pandemic ends is tour. That would be number one. Even travel just for fun. Just go. I think I'm gonna also just attend as many shows as possible as a music fan myself, and just be in that crowd and go to shows just because we didn't get them for the last year and a half. And
I know it.
maybe I took that a little bit for granted, just assuming they were always going to be there and nothing was ever going to change. Something I do very well on stage is, I think, captivating the audience, especially if they don't know who I am yet. That's actually my favorite, when I step out onto a stage and like maybe I'm opening a tour and the majority of the crowd is like, who's this? And then, midway through the set, oh, so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Midway through the set, I can tell like they start banging their heads and they're like, we kind of like this. We're getting into this. And so I feel like I'm good at winning people over. Something that I can work on, which I do adamantly try to work on, is endurance and kind of breath control. And I've gotten better, because a couple years ago, I would just rush out onto the stage 110%, like from song number 1. And by song number 2, I'm dying and I can't breathe. So I'm trying to get better at like pacing myself, because I get really excited and I want to give that full energy.
Well, that probably takes a lot of discipline, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, to kind of balance being an entertaining performer, but also hitting the right notes and having enough breath support to sing the notes you have to sing. And it's very physical sport in a way. So every time before a tour, I'll go running, I'll do cardio. And
definitely. So what else you said you do some running and cardio. What else do you do for your mental health? Like, do you do any like meditating? Do you read books? Do you sit quietly? What do you do?
I don't really meditate, but I like to be alone and quiet. That helps me self-reflect and just kind of process whatever I'm feeling. So if it's not running, I love even just going on a walk in the neighborhood and listening to music. And I'll go on like an hour walk, and by the end of it, I'll feel a lot more at peace. Being with my dog seriously helps. I always say that my dog is like the perfect cure for depression. Whenever I'm feeling down or anxious, I just go hang out with him and I immediately feel better.
What's your favorite thing about your dog?
That he's such a weirdo. Anyone who meets him is like, this is not a normal dog. He makes really weird noises. He's very vocal. And sometimes I swear he's actually like more human than dog. He's always trying to talk to you, and I love that. And of course that he's just constant unconditional love.
Yeah, and that's just the amazing thing about pets and all that. Like, I really advocate for animal therapy in schools and stuff, because I used to work at a special school, and it would really help kids with severe behavior trauma and stuff. And what's something that you advocate for?
I advocate for the discussion of mental health. I think that's been a trend lately, which I really love, because I know when I was in high school and I was experiencing depression, or I suffered a lot with eating disorders when I was in high school, and no one really talked about it, and I was so ashamed by these two things that I never told anyone really. And so I just had to kind of figure it out by myself, and like maybe my family knew, my immediate family, that was it. But now I feel like it's getting so much more, not it's awareness that it's okay to feel these things, and it makes people feel less alone.
Yeah, and it is so important. Like, that's part of the reason why I have this platform. It's so important to like help end the stigma and stuff like that. So do sometimes those thoughts kind of creep back to you, or like, do you feel like you've completely conquered this?
Oh yeah, no, they creep back, especially the depression. For me, I describe it like it comes in waves. And especially when I'm not busy or I'm anxious about something, I'll have like a 3-day period where it really hits me, and I describe it like a block almost. And it's really hard to do anything. I'm like, yes, I got out of bed today and I brushed my hair, or I went for a walk, and it's like a real achievement because I don't want to do anything that day. And And then I'll go through months where I don't feel it at all. So it just comes every now and then. And then, the eating disorder stuff, I feel like now I'm so much healthier. I have an amazing relationship with food that I didn't before. But whenever it comes time to, like, I don't know, go shoot a music video or a photo shoot, I'll have those thoughts where it's like, you need to get really prepared for it. And I'm like, no, calm down. You don't have to do all that. You're fine. You're good.
Yeah. Is it more like difficult? Like, because I feel like on social media, like on people's personal accounts anyways, like the trap that people fall in is comparing lives with others. And instead of like living your own life, do you feel that's a challenge for you in terms of mental health?
Yeah, I would say so. Especially, this last year, whenever I'd go on social media and I saw people were like really happy or really accomplishing things, you're like, that's awesome. But what am I doing? Am I accomplishing as much? Am I as happy? Like, am I living my life to the fullest? And it's hard to not compare. And then when you see other artists maybe like landing tours or festivals or stuff like that, you're like, oh, that's so cool, but like, why am I not there yet? And it's easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So, like, tell me, like, a band or an artist. This is another question for my book. Tell me a band or artist or a genre or an album that has gotten you through when times get difficult.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say maybe because it's nostalgic, but I always like listening to the album Let Go by Avril Lavigne because it was kind of the first album that really made me want to be a singer and want to do something like that. So whenever I lose sight of like I never lose sight of my passion, but when the music business can all of a sudden get really businessy and then you start forgetting, like, I'm doing this because it's a passion, it's an art. And so I always like going back to the beginning where it was only art for me and there was no business involved whatsoever. So yeah, Avril Lavigne, first album.
Definitely. And say 5 years from now, when you headline arenas and headline festivals, which I think you will, tell me your dream stage setup that you want.
Like lineup?
Well, like what's the stage going to look like?
Oh, the stage. Gosh, I would just want like a big diamond that I come in swinging on, or like a diamond slide that I come out on stage in, and then I have like taco cannon guns and I'm shooting tacos into the crowd and everyone's eating tacos, and my band players are just like flying in from the ceiling, and there's pyro. That's one thing that I can't wait to have because I've never played my own show with pyro and it just looks so cool, and everything's
Definitely.
blue and sparkly and just tacos.
Yeah, I definitely see the blue pyro, like and like the blue flames and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
what is your favorite song to play live or to perform live?
um it's more of a deep cut on my first album, but for some reason I love ending the set with Warcry because translated live it sounds so heavy and it sounds like a marching song, and the whole crowd is just like, yeah, we like this when that guitar intro riff kicks in, and I just feel like a super awesome warrior goddess when I'm singing that song. Probably off the new album because I haven't gotten to play it live.
Right.
I would say the song American Dream will probably be a lot of fun, and I'll maybe like even open the set with that one.
Definitely. And take us into that song. Like, to me, it's a perfect album opener. I about said set opener, but album opener. And so like when you order the songs, is there like a certain theme? Because I can never figure out how people do that.
Yeah. I feel like there's different approaches. Like, I think the more standard approach is put which songs you think are going to be the singles or the most popular on the top half, and then the fillers, whatever, on the bottom half. But for me, because this album was so directly personal and tied into real life events that happened to me, I wanted to have it in chronological order in the sense that these events happened in this way from start to finish. And American Dream is just the album opener because I feel like it encompasses the entire album. It's got the hard rock elements, and it's got the pop elements and the alternative elements, and then you throw like a little bit of country in there. It's just all over the place, and I love it for that reason. And it shows like all different sides of me as a human and as an artist.
Definitely. And you brought up pop music, and I haven't asked this question to somebody in a while. Let's say you got to open for any pop artist in the world. Who would you want to open for?
Oh my gosh. Lady Gaga. I would have to be Lady Gaga.
That seems to be the common answer in the rock world.
Maybe because she's so theatrical, and rock is very theatrical too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And a couple more questions I have for you. You did a killer cover of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Why did you pick that cover? And it's an awesome cover, by the way. Any story behind that?
Yeah. Iris has always been my all-time favorite song. And I really wanted to cover it for years now, but I was always told no. Even like live covering it, I was just never told I could do it. So now that I had nobody telling me no, I figured this is the perfect moment to do this. And that's why I decided to make it like hard rock. And then Neil had the idea to make it a duet. So I asked Ben from Breaking Benjamin, hey, do you want to jump on this song with me? I'd be so honored if you sang on this. And then he said, yeah, it's my favorite song too. I'd love to sing it with you. Let's do it. And then I flew to Reno, of all places, where Breaking Ben was playing with Korn. And we recorded the vocals on his tour bus on the day off, and it was so epic.
Oh, that's incredible. So what's your favorite memories with Ben of Breaking Benjamin? Like, what did you learn from him when he does his vocals or his songwriting?
I would say more than anything, I loved the way he treated his crew. I love the way he treated the other bands. He's very respectful, and he's like very courteous. If you're opening for him, he'll say like, do you need anything? Whatever you need, let us know. Thank you so much for being a part of this with us. And I loved his class and just the way that he's so welcoming to new bands. And he actually made a speech every night on stage too, where he said, and let's give it up for these women rockers, because it was me and Dorothy opening up on the tour, and he was always giving us a shout out in that regard. So I love that he was very welcoming. And then as far as like being a performer on stage, he would always really engage with the crowd so well. He would bring kids up on stage and to like hang out during the set. He'd go into the crowd and sing with them. So I just loved how accessible he was.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And what else would you like to add in regards to American Dream, which is out this Friday? Anything else that you would like to plug?
Just that I have some really cool American Dream themed music videos that are going to come out soon, and they're really awesome. I did 3 music videos in 3 days, so it was a lot, but they all turned out so incredible, and they're all so different from each other, and I look and feel very different in every video, so I can't wait for everyone to see these.
Yeah, and Diamante, it was such a pleasure to have you on the Madness Creation podcast. So thank you so much.
Of course, and thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.